Good morning, everybody. Welcome to We're Not Racist, we're talking about aliens. Today, we're actually going to be talking about aliens in a more literal manner. Today, we're going to be talking about aliens and alien planets and colonization and stuff like that. So, Matt.
Very interesting topic.
Yes.
I don't know, I am German scientist, but Germans always seem to be awesome scientists, so that's my voice.
Sure. So, this image here, just to preface all of the images that I might show up on here, most of them are from a game called Space Engine. There'll be a link in the description to the game. Basically what it is it allows you to go through and look at all of our catalogued planets, and it gives you information about all of the planets we know about. But then if you go out of the range of our catalogued planets, it begins to procedurally generate stars and galaxies and planets and landscapes like this, which are really good looking.
Very good looking. So, the big question is, if we're going to other planets, what's life gonna be like?
Yeah.
Like, if we're living on Mars, are we all gonna be like spacesuits 100% of the time, or are we gonna have biodomes, or are we gonna just turn the planet into Earth number 2? Because let's face it, Earth is going down.
Yeah, at some point in the future.
Earth's going down, whether it's global warming or the sun exploding, or we could die before the Earth disappears. I don't know. Depends.
Yeah. It probably won't be in our lifetime that
the sun explodes. Yeah.
Yeah, or the world properly ends, but
it depends how like for us, like me and you, yeah, world ain't gonna end yet unless World War III completely
butchers the world,
destroys it. Yeah, and then we're forced to move to space because our world is just nuclear.
Yeah.
You know, our last resort is to push everyone onto Mars and then get everyone to rebuild the colonies and stuff.
Well, I think before we start getting into the nitty-gritty about what kind of stuff we'd be looking at for colonization, we should probably describe the kind of planet that we're looking at.
Yeah, well, it depends, like, when we're leaving. Because technology advances over time. So if we're leaving, like, 3 years away, we're probably going to go to Mars or the planet behind it. What's behind Mars? There's the asteroid belt, and then it's Jupiter, right?
I don't know.
I think it's Jupiter.
Remember.
It's either Jupiter or Saturn. I'm pretty sure it's Jupiter. But Jupiter has like 60 moons, and Saturn has like 34. So if we can't settle on Mars, I'm sure we're gonna settle on one of the moons of one of those planets.
Yeah, it's Jupiter that comes after Mars.
Okay. Or we could dig holes in asteroids and live in an asteroid belt. And people can just space hop from one asteroid to the other.
Well, that is also assuming that we stay in the same solar system. But
yeah, we could, but that if it was in like 3 years, we would. But if it's like 30 years away, and we're like 50, now we'd be 50, we'd be 40 something.
I think it'd be a little bit further away than 30 years, probably.
No, but I'm just hypothetically. We would probably go somewhere that's close, that's more resembling to Earth.
Yeah.
Like if we're gonna go out of our solar system, we're not gonna go out of our solar system to live on a planet that looks like Mars. Like we can fly there if it's cheap.
We can be picky if we're gonna go outside our solar system.
But another thing with and now that we've established that, like if we move into colonization, I'm unsure how it would work if there were aliens. Because if there's not aliens, then the planet's ours. Doesn't matter. Even like Mars, there's nothing that lives there, so they're not going to get pissed if we live there too.
No.
The problem is I don't want humans to do a white colonization sort of move.
Yeah, where they
and just brand the galaxy as human and come into planets are like, oh, so this is your planet, tough, we're taking it over.
Yeah.
And, like, you know, completely kill the indigenous species. I don't think that's
No, I
what we
don't
should
think
do.
that's the right thing to do if you're gonna go into another planet. You gotta respect what's already there, I think.
But another thing is what classifies as... it was with when they colonized Australia, the people that colonized it didn't see Aboriginal people as people.
Yeah.
They saw them as animals, and that's why they claimed the land. Yet, if we go into an alien world, what counts as a sentient alien? Is it one that's humanoid? Is it one that's a bug? Is it one that's a tiny little caterpillar,
Yeah.
but has a mind of its own and doesn't just sit and eat? It can actually, you know, fight and stuff.
Yeah, it's a very hard ethical question as to whether something is smart enough to be to think for
on
itself.
a level.
Yeah.
There's also a chance we could run into something which is far more intellectually superior than us.
Yeah.
Because I think it's more of a case where treat others how you want to be treated.
Yeah.
Because if we go around to alien planets and we don't start fights and we coexist well, then they're not going to come out to our planet and just rip us from under our skin, you know?
Well, that's assuming that they're non-hostile aliens.
That's true, yeah. I have a feeling that if we're debating it, whether we should take their land or whether we should coexist, chances are they're going to be not completely passive, but I feel like if aliens are not primitive like we did in the zombie one, if they're not primitive and they're intelligent, they're going to be curious about us just as much as we're curious about them.
Yeah.
Because they could be breathing nitrogen solely. Like, that could be what they breathe. Like, instead of us breathing oxygen, they breathe nitrogen, and they eat plants made of carbon and helium.
Yeah.
You know, they could... That way, you know, when they come to our planet, it's not just because... It's not like they're... They enjoy being there. It's like being on a holiday almost.
Yeah.
It would be the same for like astronauts. Like, if we got to a phase where we can just send people over, we would have... I'm imagining, like... You look at Earth, right?
Yeah.
If we were living with aliens, I reckon we'd give aliens I feel like that we would all coexist, but there would be majority alien states and majority human states.
Yeah.
Like, let's use Australia, because there's only 6 states and Tassie, right? So, Western Australia... Oh no, maybe... But yeah, Western Australia might be 80% alien, right? Even though there's still humans that coexist with them there, it's an alien state because there's more aliens than humans. Yet in Melbourne, there's still aliens living with us, but it's a human state because there's more humans than aliens.
Yeah.
It'd be the same if we went over to their planet, you know, and they had a continent divided into 2 halves, and if there's more of us than them on one half, it's going to be considered more human than alien.
Yeah. In a typical sense, this might sound pretty racist, but of course we're not racist because we're talking about aliens.
Yeah.
But it's a bit like saying that China is primarily Chinese rather than primarily Caucasian or white.
Yeah.
But if you take Victoria again as the example, it's probably primarily Caucasian. I mean, I'm not sure about that. It might be.
It's more 60% white, 30% Burmese, 20% Asian, really. That doesn't make any sense. It's 110. God damn it.
You're a
You can't
legend.
do percentages.
You're a legend at maths.
Oh, that's so bad. And I didn't even include, like, you know, black people.
No.
which is another like 10%. So what are we up to now? 120%.
Legendary.
I reckon our census got the exact same result.
Oh yeah. Oh jeez, that was a mistake. That was an error. That was a huge error.
Let's not. We'll talk about that another time.
Yeah.
But there's also the fact that we need to be able to communicate with aliens,
Yeah.
because the problem with aliens, right, is that imagine you go to China and you can't speak Chinese.
Yeah.
And I know this is slightly racist, but a lot of Chinese people can speak English. But let's say you meet someone at a milk bar in China, because they have milk bars in China.
Yeah.
You can't talk to them because they don't speak English and you don't speak Chinese.
Yeah.
But there's still simple hand gestures that you can get across, like counting with your fingers and me, you, come here, that sort of stuff.
Yeah, kind of universally accepted gestures.
Mostly, like, it changes over countries. Like, when we say come over here, we usually, like, we're pulling into our, like, chest, right? When you say come here.
Yeah.
But in Japan, I learned this because I did Japanese in primary school, they actually point to their nose.
Oh, okay.
So it's the same gesture, but one is more broad than the other one. They mean exactly the same thing. Except, usually that means, you're in trouble when people do that here.
Yeah.
Like, teachers do that to you, like, with one finger, like,
come over here, yeah.
Come over here, you're in trouble. In Japan, that just means come over here.
Yeah.
Instead of ours, where we, like, flail our arms around, like, come here, come here. But with aliens, we don't have...
Yeah, we don't know what kind of culture they'll have and what kind of gestures they'll have. Or even if they have any gestures at all.
Yeah, they could be telepathic.
Yeah. People always assume that an alien is
humanoid?
A creature very similar to ourselves that has to breathe oxygen and has to drink water. And while that's certainly true for all of the animals on our planet,
on Earth. Yeah.
It may not be true for other creatures and other
I
forms
heard
of
NASA was saying something. They said cells need water to grow, which is why they've been looking for water on Mars.
Yeah.
To determine if there's life on Mars.
Yeah.
But my biggest problem with that is that's an Earth cell. And that's formed on our planet because that's what our planet has. But if you go onto another planet, like, let's say, the moon of Titan, so the moon of Jupiter or Saturn, I can't remember which one.
I think it's Jupiter. It's
extremely cold. So chances are their cells aren't going to have water in them because they're just going to freeze.
Yeah.
They're going to... because the water content in their cells will freeze.
Oh no, never mind. It's the largest satellite of Saturn.
Oh, Saturn. Okay. Yeah. Chances are it'll freeze the cells, and nothing's going to be able to live with ice cells.
Yep. And the atmosphere of Titan is primarily nitrogen, methane, and hydrocarbons.
Yeah. So there you go. What's killing our planet is actually completely the atmosphere on Titan. Methane, nitrogen.
And hydrocarbons like oils and...
Yeah.
Yeah.
So fumes. I think that... how people are like, aliens are watching us? That aliens are... They're above all. They're sitting in there. They're just sitting up there watching us, learning what we do.
Yeah.
But the thing is, that's a good thing. I don't understand why people think that's a bad thing, because you don't want them to land and have no clue what we're saying, and we have no clue what they're saying, and they can't get anything across.
Yeah, I suppose so.
So if aliens are watching us, it's probably for a good intention. if they think like us, because if we went to their planet, we'd have to do that.
Yeah.
We'd have to pretty much set up a satellite and watch them and figure out their basic patterns of speech or how they converse. Like, you know, there's people that are fit for their job, study language and how language works. We'd
Yeah.
probably have to send them into space to decrypt the alien. We don't need to fully speak in alien, but we need to get a basic message across, like, we're not here to hurt you. And that sort of stuff. Unless we are, then we could just totally bombard the planet and take it over. You know, that's a possibility, but...
Yeah, I suppose I don't really see peaceful creatures as trying to, like, spy on us.
Okay.
I mean, typically if you're looking at surveillance and spying in a negative light, like if you're trying to determine how strong they are, what kind of defenses they have, how easily they can communicate with each other, and like efficiency of the animals themselves, that seems like saying you'd need to know if you're going to launch an attack rather than if you're going to try and peacefully converse with them.
That's true. It could go either way.
Yeah.
Like, have you seen that Black Knight conspiracy?
No, I don't think I have.
It's basically on the cameras of the space station, they picked up what looked like an alien shuttle.
Okay.
And it looked like a really, like, modern fighter jet.
But in space.
And of course, yeah, but in space.
Oh.
And it's had multiple sightings. Right? NASA says it's a piece of space junk.
Probably is.
But the problem is, every time it shows up on the cameras at the space station, the camera's cut. Which makes people believe that NASA is trying to hide what it is from the public.
Yeah. Or
and they probably,
alternatively,
if aliens were there, they probably would not tell us.
Alternatively, they might be trying to hide it from the camera so people don't create these conspiracies.
That's true.
Because if it's just a piece of space junk, NASA doesn't want to have to prove to everyone that it is just a piece of space junk and not some alien fighter.
But it's sort of like saying, it's sort of like when someone gets put to court because someone thinks they've murdered someone.
Yeah.
Didn't do it. You immediately go, well, that could be a lie.
Yeah.
You know, the first thing you think is he's got to be lying. Then you think, well, he could be telling the truth. But we don't know. It's the same with that. Like, leaving it on the footage is probably the best idea because it shows people it's not a big problem.
Yeah.
And, like, I don't really care if aliens are watching us. Like, aliens could be tapping in and listening to this right now on our Discord server, you know?
Yeah.
You don't know how advanced they are. They could be listening to us and decrypting everything we say. But I honestly don't care if aliens show up, as long as they don't kill us.
Yeah, that's a bit of a given, I think.
If we exist with aliens, whether it be they live here, or we live there, or we do a swap because the atmospheres are more nutrient for the other races. Because, you know, our atmosphere is mostly nitrogen.
Yeah.
And like the oxygen bit that we breathe is like, I think it's 20% of our hold on, I'll Google it, but I think that's how our atmosphere works. But basically their planet had 40% oxygen. Then we would benefit living there because we'd have to breathe less. Less. Less.
Hmm.
Hold
Yeah.
on. Chemical.
So I suppose when we're talking about this, we're assuming aliens are coming from us from other planets.
Yes. There's also a chance that they could live on an asteroid. Or they could be living in a massive ship that they've built.
Yeah.
Okay, I think I found a chart for the what do you call it? The atmospheres. I'll send it to you in the Discord so you can pop it on your screen. But it's basically the Earth's atmosphere is 98% oxygen, 9% argon, 4% carbon dioxide, and 21% oxygen.
You said like 98% oxygen first.
78% nitrogen. Sorry.
Yep.
But Mars, on the other hand, is 96% carbon dioxide.
Hmm.
And only 0.1% oxygen, 1.9% nitrogen, and 1.9% argon.
Yeah.
But if we lived on a planet where we had 40% oxygen, we wouldn't have to breathe as much.
No,
And
but
humans
we do also
wouldn't get-
need nitrogen and stuff.
Oh yeah, I'm not saying completely get rid of nitrogen. That's not what I'm saying.
Okay.
I'm saying that if it was 100% oxygen, we wouldn't be able to breathe it, because it'd be like, you know how you have like a warhead,
Alright. Yeah.
like, you know, like the sour candies. One
Oh,
warhead is fine, but 8 warheads is too much, and you're gonna hurt yourself. You know.
Well, 8 warheads isn't gonna hurt you.
I've seen people actually start bleeding from eating too many warheads at once.
Oh, okay.
So then, after the sour goes, of course they're fine. They're just candy, but the sour can get to you badly if you eat too many at once.
Okay. Alright. Well,
So too much of a good thing is a bad thing. Is what I'm trying to say.
you also have stuff like the Fermi paradox, which I haven't really looked into a lot. I probably should have had a look closer into this, and we might be able to do a special podcast on this in itself, but the basis of it is there are billions of stars in the galaxy that are similar in composition to the sun and that have planets similar to Earth that may be able to harbour life.
Yes.
And the fact that these planets have probably existed for billions of years more than Earth, why haven't any aliens come to us, and why haven't we been able to detect any aliens or any radio waves or anything from other planets?
Sorry about that. What'd you say?
Did it cut out or something?
Yeah.
Alright, well, the basis of it is there are billions of stars in the galaxy. Yeah.
Mhm.
And a lot of them are fairly similar to the sun. And a lot of them have got... Well, there's a very high probability, at least, that a lot of these have Earth-like planets to them.
Yeah.
Which may be able to develop intelligent life forms.
Yes.
And there's also the possibility that a lot of these Earth-like planets are billions of years older than Earth.
Mhm.
And the thing is, if these... You know how currently the idea of interstellar travel, like, it's a very slow thing. We don't expect it to happen in our lifetime or the lifetime after us. It might even take 1 million years or something for proper interstellar travel to become feasible.
Depends how you look at the situation, right?
Yeah.
Because NASA is looking into making fuel more effective. My suggestion is NASA needs to reinvent the rocket.
Alright. Well,
Because because what they're doing at the moment is trying to make it as efficient as possible, but that's only going to get to a point.
Yeah.
Like it's like an atom. You know, you can only go so far down and make it so small, and then it's done. You can't get much smaller.
Yeah.
And if you could, it's not a solid thing anymore. So, like, you can make fuel more and more efficient, but it's only going to get to a point, and then you can't get any more out of it. So instead, I think we should look into maybe a new motive of moving once we're out of our atmosphere.
Perhaps, but I don't think there are a lot of other motives of moving that we can.
Yeah, but that's because no one's looking into it.
Well, I suppose so, but anyway...
I mean, of course,
even if
it's all imagination.
Even if it does take us 1,000,000 years to get, like, the technology for interstellar travel, those Earth-like planets have still been around for billions of years longer than us, so it's entirely possible that they should have been able to traverse the entire Milky Way. Or even galaxies outside of our Milky Way. I mean, there's a limit to how far we can go. We can't really go any further than Andromeda, because there's just limits that we cannot possibly pass with any amount of speed.
You know what I think we should look into?
What?
Instead of getting faster and faster, we should look into teleportation.
Even with teleportation, there's limits to how far you can go. Because...
But if we transported someone into photons...
That travels at the speed of light, yeah. But
yeah.
Even the speed of light is too slow.
I know, it takes 8 minutes for the light from the sun to get to the Earth.
Yeah, but this is a bit of... I can't really explain this in the small amount of time we have, but there are quantum fluctuations in our universe that were created in the instance of the Big Bang, and this means that parts of our universe are coming closer and closer together, while other parts are moving further and further away. So
the galaxy's like splitting.
Well, no, not really. As I said, I don't really have enough time to properly explain it all, but basically, I think there's like 4 or 5 galaxies in our little local cluster. that we are able to visit. But anything out of that cluster is physically impossible to visit, even if you're traveling at the speed of light. And I'm sure you're aware you can't go any faster than the speed of light. That's impossible.
No. Then you're likely to do... Have you heard of Einstein's theory?
Yeah.
Where like, they took the atomic clock in a jet plane and on the ground. And the faster you go, the slower time goes.
Yeah.
I think if that's true, because once you get to the speed of light, like really that's the stopping point of time, almost.
Yeah.
For you, time isn't you're moving so fast that time doesn't matter to you.
Yeah.
But if you go faster than the speed of light, you're going to start going backwards.
Well, I think with Einstein theory, I think most of that is talking about in relative terms. So time goes slower relative to your speed. I'm not sure if it's possible for time to go backwards. It might be, but
we don't know. We haven't gotten faster than the speed of light yet.
Yeah.
Well, I have a feeling that's why things can't go past the speed of light, because they're not going fast anymore.
Yeah.
And that's time travel. There we go.
Yeah,
just go faster than the speed of light and you go back in time.
I'm assuming that's how it works. I suppose that is possible. But
anyway,
then
you can't speed up time.
Getting back to the Fermi paradox, it is entirely possible that these aliens have developed interstellar travel and might be able to go to all around our Milky Way on a grand tour. And if that's possible, where are they?
Also, there's another possibility that if aliens, let's say they're friendly. I'm just
Yeah.
to get that out of the way. They could come down to our planet, right, and say, "Hey, we're from like 2 galaxies out. And we got this awesome technology. You guys want to have some?" And I know that's a very like on the percentage scale, that's like 0.0000001% chance of happening. But
Yeah.
if it did happen, humans would have access to interstellar technology way before our time.
Hmm.
And because we're looking into it, and we understand it, it's not. Have you seen Star Trek?
No.
Okay, in Star Trek, basically they have like the Prime Directive, which is the main rule.
Okay.
And the idea is that you cannot expose life forms to space travel technology if they are not advanced enough.
All right.
So basically, if you see a primitive planet, they can't know you're there.
All right.
That because otherwise they're not going to be able to comprehend it. They're going to think it's a god or something,
Okay.
and it could completely alter their way of learning.
All right. Yeah. I think I see where you're going with this. Yeah.
But because we understand what interstellar technology is, it's not breaking that rule.
Hmm.
But aliens could go, well, they haven't developed it, at least the slightest bit of it yet, so we should probably just let them do what they're doing. Which is probably why we haven't seen aliens. They probably came around when we were cavemen.
Hmm.
That could have happened. That it could have come around when we were cavemen, and they went, well, these guys aren't advanced enough, and they left, and they haven't come back since.
All right.
Because they believe in the, 10,000, oh, sorry, 10,000 years. We haven't evolved as much as they have. Because, as you've seen in time, with technology, it started off very slow. Like, the refinement of technology started off very slow, but the more refined you get, the faster the refining gets.
Yeah.
So if you look, 1800s, I think, was the light bulb.
Yeah, something like that. I don't know.
I think in late 1800s was the light bulb. And then through the 19th century, electricity defined. And if you look at it, like 8 years ago, if you look at PlayStation, the memory cards are 8 meg. And I literally have something in my hand right now, which is the size of my thumb and has 14 gigabytes worth of space on it.
Yeah.
And I don't know what the math equation is, whether it's like 16 times or something like that, but that's a lot of space.
Hmm.
And compared to something the size of my hand. And that only took 8 years. Yet it took us a good 20 to move from the light bulb to, proper electrical stuff like the fax machine. And now we're looking into sentient robotics.
Yeah. And as you were talking about before, the that 8 meg drive you have and the 14 gigabyte drive you have, there is a 1,750 times difference between the two.
I know, and that's 8 years.
Yeah.
Give technology another 8 years. Imagine what that tiny little thing with 14 gig on it can hold. Can you do that equation again? Like, can you...
Yeah.
Times 14 by that number?
Alright, so that was 8 years, yeah. So in a year, it goes up at about 218. This is of course assuming that it's a linear... linear curve, but of course it's not. It'd be like a logarithmic curve, I think. But anyway, over how many years do you want this for?
8.
Well, over 8, it's just going to be this. it'll be
That little 14
3,500 times faster than the 8 meg chip you
And
have.
how much space is that? How much space would a 14 gigabyte drive have 8 years later?
24.5 terabytes.
There you go. Like, that's ridiculous.
You can already get drives that are like petabytes.
Yeah, you can, but how big are they?
Oh well, they're damn huge. Yeah, they're like server room sized. But
Yeah, but imagine if you could get something that big down to the size of a cup for a petabyte, which is a ridiculous amount of space. I haven't been able to fill up a terabyte.
oh, trust me, you can fill up a terabyte pretty quickly if you get into video editing.
Oh, yeah. I'm sure for video editing, because you have to render all the videos and stuff, but I don't really do that.
Yeah.
In all of the video editing that I do after I upload it and it successfully uploads, I usually just delete the file because I don't need it anymore.
Yeah.
But yeah, imagine in the future we're gonna need stuff that big to hold sentient AI. Because the thing about sentient robotics is that they have to learn like people do. I have a feeling if we were making a sentient robot, you would have to raise it.
You
because, yeah, well,
you know how CPUs are driven by like the amount of transistors that are in them.
Yeah, vaguely, yeah.
There's a thing called Moore's law that basically says that the amount of transistors in a
duplicates, doesn't
a microprocessor doubles every 2 years. Or is it every year? I don't know.
It's every 2 years.
Doubles approximately every 2 years. So in 1971, the 4004 microprocessor had 2,300 transistors. So that was in 1971. In 2011, there's a 16-core Spark T3 that has nearly 2.6 billion 2.6 billion transistors in it.
You see, the thing with robots, and I know we've moved from aliens to robots, but it's a good segue.
Yeah.
With sentient robotics, I feel like if you made a sentient robot, it would be like creating a child almost. So basically, you put in its basic instincts to learn how to learn and its speech patterns, and then teach it.
Yeah.
Teach it how to walk. Teach it how to eat. Not eat. They don't eat. They're robots. But teach it how to refuel itself. Teach it how to write stuff. Teach it how to read. Teach it how to watch television. Teach it how the world works. One day we'll have a school for robots because they learn differently than us. With a robot, you only have to say it once and they get it.
Yeah.
Unless it's too complex for their processor to handle at that current time. But then again, it's more of a keep trying and they'll get it eventually motive.
We're getting a little bit off topic here. This is like a very interesting thing that we could talk about in the future.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah, like robots and how technology can advance in a few years even.
Yeah.
But I suppose the same things can be applied to aliens, assuming they're inferior to us. They're less intelligent than us. We might be able to teach them some of our ways. I mean,
yeah.
It's a little, of course, practice and theory are two very different things. But who knows? It might be possible.
I think that aliens. It's a very odd concept. Because no matter what way you look at it, someone's, you have to resort to pulling a straw.
Yeah.
And the straw could be short, the straw could be long. What I'm trying to say is that no matter whether aliens are watching us or whether we're going to an alien world or they're coming to our world, one of us is going to have to take a risk.
Yeah.
There's no choice. Their choices are they can sit and watch us, or they can land and try and communicate. Both are going to spark controversy, no matter whether it's us visiting them or them visiting us. Because if we rock up to their planet and sit and watch them for a while, they're going to get pretty edgy, like we get about aliens.
Yeah.
Imagine alien Reddit. Humans from Earth, because the thing about aliens is that people think aliens know they're aliens.
Yeah.
But they're not. Alien is a term for something that isn't us. So to them, we're aliens.
I think alien is defined as a creature that is dissimilar from us, but is in its native position. And then you've got extraterrestrials, which are aliens that aren't where they're meant to be.
Okay.
I'm fairly sure. That might be the wrong way around, but I'm fairly sure that's the way it's defined.
No, extraterrestrial makes sense because it's adding onto their terrain, almost.
And then you've got extra as well, which is... Yeah.
Breaking down words for a living, what do you know? But yeah, someone's going to have to straw. Because let's look at it from the aliens' perspective if we came to their planet. Because imagine you're in your home and you turn on the news, the television and the house and stuff would be different, but you turn on the alien news, whether it's radio or TV or whatever they have.
Yeah.
3D holo printing. The news says people say they've spotted an alien spacecraft in space.
Alright.
But then, and everyone's like, oh, that's just people kidding around, until you realize there actually is an alien ship in space, because you can see it at nighttime through the atmosphere.
Yeah.
Because it would be you would see a silhouette of what it was. It's like, well, we can't see the ISS, right?
No, we can. You can. I've seen the ISS from Earth.
I can see it, but it's not. It doesn't look like the ISS.
It does if you get a telescope.
Oh, well, I don't have a telescope.
Well, yeah.
I mean, if you just straight look up.
Yeah, if you straight look up, it's like a little kind of blue, not
Almost.
blue, sorry, little yellow-orange dot that is moving very, very fast over the skyline.
I've seen it. I haven't looked at it through a telescope, but I have seen it.
Yeah.
Like, going across the sky. But it would be exactly the same. And people would take photos with telescopes like we do of other planets and stuff.
Yeah.
And the thing is, unlike a conspiracy theory, because we don't know it's true, because there are actually aliens there, they're gonna go into panic mode, basically.
Yeah.
Because they're not sure whether we're gonna take them over, or whether we're coming down to have a party. And of course, like here, we have like rednecks, which want aliens dead on the stake. I'm sure there's alien rednecks. I'm sure of it. If they're anything like us, there are alien rednecks and alien bogans.
Oh man.
Alien hillbillies. But then there's also the smart aliens, which are like, hey, maybe we should try and communicate with these guys. But then there's also that if they have a space organization, right? Like our equivalent of NASA. What is they gonna do? Are they gonna own up and say that there's aliens watching us? Are they gonna try and cover it up? What are they gonna do?
Yeah.
Because I have a feeling if aliens arrive, NASA's gonna call it off as BS.
Yeah, but I think there's a limit to what you can call off, especially if people can see it for themselves.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think it would cause mass hysteria. Same if we looked up at the sky and saw a massive UFO for more than a month.
Yeah.
Like, if it was there for a day and gone, people would be like, oh, well, that was just rubbish. But if it's constantly there, it's going to eventually doubt, and people are going to go, oh, maybe that actually is aliens. And we'd have the same reaction. It'd break out into mass hysteria. Half the world would be wanting to burn it on a stake, and the other half would want to communicate with it. And then there's the doomsday preppers, which are
Oh, yeah.
getting ready to seal in their nuclear bulkheads.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's what I think anyway about aliens coming to a planet and us going to alien planets.
Yeah, I think, as you say, it's a very two-way argument that they're either going to be, they're either going to be friendly or
Hostile.
warlike, perhaps. Yeah.
Chances are, if they're friendly, they could do two things. If they're out to get us, they're out to get us. They're going to come and wreck us no matter what.
Yeah.
But if they're friendly, they could come down and try and communicate, or they could just go, well, there's a race here, let's leave them alone. But yeah, that's all I've got.
There's just one more thing that I want to show you guys. Might take me a minute to get it up on the
I
podcast.
sent you the picture of the atmospheres, by the way, if you wanted to put that up.
Oh, okay. This here. Let me just quickly scale it down so you guys can see. Sorry, Matt, your face is going to be slightly cut off by this.
Oh, that's good.
But this here, this is something I find quite interesting. So this guy here is saying it's a well-known fact that if aliens invaded, they'd kill us instantly. And he then asks, why are we always represented as being inferior? And this guy here, as you can read this here, the TLDR, in order for interstellar travel, you have to be you need to have the best technology available to you.
Is this the world building thing you had?
Yes, it is.
Okay.
Right. So yeah. He basically goes and says space is a very difficult place, and if you are going to be able to travel in space for hundreds or millions of years to get somewhere, you have to have extremely high level, extremely advanced technology to be able to keep the people on board alive, to keep the engines running or whatever. And there's always the chance that if we get here, as it says here, is it going to be safe?
There's also the thing where if we're traveling at our constant pace, you're going to need a small population, really. Because if we're traveling for years and years and years, we're going to have to be able to repopulate.
Yeah.
Or cryo-freeze our astronauts, which I don't think is going to work. It's one thing I really don't understand. Have you heard of, how people are cryo-freezing now?
Yeah.
I don't understand people that want to go into cryo-freezing because we don't know how to take them out yet.
Yeah.
The problem with that is when we finally find out how to take them out, we could have stuffed up because everyone that has been frozen is gone because we can't bring them up. The way we've frozen them isn't right.
Yeah.
So I feel like if we cryo-froze our astronauts and we had a way of waking them up again, it might work. But the problem is, if that happens, they're gonna wake up, the same age as they were, but millions of years will have passed. Earth could be gone.
Yeah.
For all they know. Earth could have been invaded by another mass of aliens. So that's the problem with really long distance travels, is that something horrid could happen.
Yeah. While they're Sleep.
while while they're asleep or while they're going, even if they're not asleep, while they're going, and they're all the humans left.
Yeah, and you've also got to take loneliness and stuff into account, because if you're sending 2 astronauts
Oh
to
no,
somewhere...
you'd have to spend more than that.
Oh, I know you'd have to take more than that, but theoretically, if you're going to take 2 astronauts, they'd have to be unmarried, they wouldn't have to have children, they'd have to be, like, virgins, because in a million years, they're going to have no relatives. Their wife or their children, they're all going to be dead. Yeah. Assuming, of course, that, like...
They're virgins.
Assuming that the people on Earth haven't discovered a way to live for millions of years. But even so, it's probably not likely that someone would want to live for that long.
That's why I'm not a fan of, like, being immortal.
Yeah.
Because you just sit and watch everyone around you perish.
Mm.
And, like, you know, everyone goes through eventually, like, you know, when their parents die.
Yeah.
Like, that's sad, but it's necessary.
Hmm.
But you shouldn't be around to see your children die. That's worse.
Yeah.
Or their grandchildren die. Or their children die. Or their children die. It shouldn't... You shouldn't go through that as a person.
Yeah.
It's morally wrong. And people that say, oh, I'd go up to be immortal, are absolute numpties.
Hmm.
Either that, or they have nothing to live for.
Yeah. Hmm.
Imagine if, like, aliens weren't organic.
You mean like if they were amorphous blobs, or
No.
if they were made of...
No, if they were robots.
Well,
Because
somebody or
it's a
something would have to
possibility.
make the robots.
That's true. But we're thinking about aliens, right?
Yeah.
There could be a planet out there that makes where robots grow. I know this is a stretch, but are they still classified as robots if they have pistons and they have, like, you know, robotic cogs and stuff, and they don't eat? They just fill up on fuel. Are they still robots, or are they humans because they've been... Not humans, but are they aliens because they've been born? From the planet itself, not from other robots, or they'd be life forms. But...
I don't know, I think they're probably still robots. Or at least, what's that word?
Mechanic?
What's that word that kind of half describes a robot and a human kind of together?
Cyborg?
Yeah, the cyborg, effectively. I think there's another
Okay.
word for it that starts with A or something like that.
Yeah, I've got no clue what you're talking about, but yeah.
Yeah, I've forgotten what it is. It's hard. Like a lot of things, classifications are sometimes hard to come up with. Because things are always so unique.
You know, I had a dream once where I was exploring space, and we had, you know, ships that could explore space.
Yeah.
And I was out with a group of like 5 people. We
Right.
went to this alien planet, and it had red grass, right? And these trees, they grew little fruits, right?
Okay.
And they were like red and soft on the outside, but on the inside it was like clear gel, almost.
Oh. Okay.
Like eating a jelly.
Alright.
But the thing is, the tree actually drops the fruit, and the fruit turns into these caterpillars. Right. Which are the size... They're about... You know those giant gummy bears?
Yeah.
They're about that big. They're clear. They've got little legs that are like black, and a big black button nose at the end.
Okay.
And that's it. It's like a mix between a jellyfish and a
Caterpillar.
caterpillar. And the nose, the way it eats is that its nose emits like an acid,
All right.
and that dissolves whatever it touches.
All right, and then it kind of absorbs the
The nutrients
Yeah.
through its nose, yeah. And if you touch its main body, depending on whether it wants to or not, it can zap you like a jellyfish can.
All right.
But of course, sometimes they don't want to because they're vaguely sentient.
All right.
But yeah, I remember because someone ate one of the little fruits, and they ended up coughing out a baby one of the caterpillars,
Oh.
and completely wrecking their throat. We had to do they were on healing drugs for a good month.
Right.
There
Yeah.
was this little caterpillar that lived on our ship, and we brought it back to Earth. And it lived in a tank in my house.
Right. Okay.
It's like a pet alien. It was really cute.
All right. Well, you have very vivid dreams.
I do. I get very imaginative, very specific as well. It's odd.
Yeah. My dreams just tend to be pretty random. Like I'll be going to a party and then boom, suddenly I'm in jail for whatever reason, and then I turn around and oh look, I'm not actually in jail. I'm looking at a lion that's in jail, and oh look, I'm at a zoo now. It's just really random.
I had another dream where it was exactly the same idea, but we went to this planet and they had aliens, and they were complete you know how palm trees look?
Yeah.
How they have the scales?
Yeah.
Their body was completely scaled, right? Like that.
All right.
And they had it was dark purple scales, and they had a bright pink glow coming from their cheek area.
All right.
And they had, a T-shaped sort of head.
Yeah.
And basically when they talked, the scales sort of opened up, so the light became brighter and darker as they talked.
Oh, okay.
And they had a group of them that wore necklaces with tubes, and they studied Earth. God, what languages do they speak? They spoke English, Chinese, and German, I think.
Okay.
But
Gosh,
basically,
you
the
could write a
five of
book
them
with
on
all
their
of these
planet.
ideas.
I did,
Oh, okay.
but it got lost with my old iPad.
Oh, legend.
So I'm likely to rewrite that
All right.
sometime soon. And for the people listening to this, yes, I will let you know when that book is available, because it would be fantastic.
All right.
It's going to be fantastic, like my plans.
Well,
for this
I think we've pretty much exhausted
Yeah.
our ideas for this.
Yeah, I'm done.
Yeah.
Okay, guys. Hope you liked the live stream. So, if you guys want to listen to some more, you can subscribe to our group channel where we have two what do you call it? Playlists
2 playlists.
for different shows.
Yeah.
So subscribe to there. Like the video if you like it, and follow us on all our social media platforms. And we'll see you guys next time.
Goodbye.